Happy Friday, 4th graders. Today is Friday, December 18th, and it's our last day of school this week. Also, there's only 2 more days of school until winter break. How exciting is that? And hopefully after winter break at some point we'll be back in school learning together again. Until then, we're going to keep going on what we're doing. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is our Friday word study practice. We did the same thing on Monday. So cut on the dotted lines and have someone read the words to you. I am going to read them now. So if you want to do it with me reading, that's awesome. If not, have someone else read them to you. And then once you're done, correct your mistakes. Okay. Number 1, letter. Let-ter, letter. Number 2, after. After. 3, better. Bet-ter. 4, girl. Girl. 5, thirst. Thirst. 6, birth. Birth. 7, dirt. Dirt. 8, surprise. Surprise. Okay, so do those. And then the next page in your bundle is this one. So navigating with maps. And okay. So I'm going to read the story, and then we've just got 6 questions to answer. Huh. So navigating with maps. A map is a detailed image of an area. Maps show us where things are, and they also show us how to get somewhere. They show places that are large and small. There are maps of buildings and parks. There are maps of the entire world. All maps show a large area as a small drawing. The maps are much smaller than the areas they represent. Maps have scales. These show how the distance on a map relates to the real distance. Some maps have scales written as a ratio. It shows how one length compares to another length. An inch on a map might equal a certain number of feet or miles on land. Maps include symbols for real things. The symbols depend on what the map is showing. For example, a large map of a state or country might have symbols or cities, highways, and rivers. A smaller map of a town may have symbols for hospitals, schools, and libraries. These symbols are all listed in one part of the map. It is called a key. The key shows each symbol and what it stands for on the map. People have been using maps for thousands of years. At one time, people used only paper maps. They would have to carry a map around if they were using it to find places. Today, people use a computerized type of map. It is called a global positioning system. A GPS uses satellites to orbit the Earth. They send signals to GPS receivers. It can also show location, speed, and direction. Instead of a paper map, people use GPS receivers. A map shows up on a screen. The map will point people to the right direction by showing the route as you move along. GPS receivers are also found on ships and airplanes. They have pilots and captains navigate as they travel. They show distances between locations. GPS is used with many other instruments. So maps used to be like on a piece of paper, and I remember going on road trips and my mom would pull out her giant map and go, find this road, and we would use the map, using the finger, finding the roads, looking for certain towns. Now, all of that is in our phones. So if I go in, I have a little map app, and it tells me, cannot see that at all. Well, whatever. I have a map app, and it tells me where to go and how to get places. So instead of me using a paper map, if I need to find a store or my grandma's house, I can use that instead, which is kind of cool. So that's the GPS. In your phone, you can also get an actual GPS, which looks like this. We're going to do the questions now. Okay. What is the purpose for reading the story? Why would someone read this? A, to be entertained. B, to be persuaded to buy a map. C, to learn about maps and GPS. Or D, to learn about direction. 2. Which statement would the author likely agree with? A, maps are only for people who need to go places. B, maps are better than GPS receivers. C, maps are not useful. D, maps look different but have the same purpose. 3. Which statement shows a prior experience related to this story? So how could someone which experience would help someone better understand reading this story? A, I don't think maps are helpful. B, I am curious about how keys unlock doors. C, I want to be a pilot when I grow up. D, I used a map to help my dad find my friend's house. Which one of those would be a personal connection to this one to help you understand reading about this better? 4. The fourth paragraph would work best in a blank book. So if I go back, find the fourth paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one is talking about how people used to carry maps. Today we have a GPS and what a GPS does for us, giving us specific routes. So would it be best in a history book, an art book, a math book, or a how-to book? 5. What is the main idea? Main idea is what our story is mostly about. So what's the main idea? A, maps are interesting and they change over time. B, maps do not always tell you what you need to know. C, maps are made by pilots. D, a GPS receiver is not a map. 6. Why do maps have to change? A, because map companies want to make money. B, because the world is changing. C, so cartographers can keep their jobs. Cartographers are the people who make maps. D, because maps are usually wrong. My hint for this is my brother lives on a road that last year was not a road. And you wouldn't be able to find on any maps last year. Now it is a road, and you can find it using a GPS now. So, things were changing. Hint, hint, hint. Okay, there is no writing question for this one today. I figured I'd be nice to you on a Friday. But you do have a writing that your classroom teacher assigned, and it looks like this. So when you're done with your story and questions, go to this page in your bundle, and we will get going. So, please use the space below and on the back of this paper to write your teacher a letter. Write your teacher a letter about anything. Okay? So, talk about how you're doing, or how you're spending winter break, best surprise you've ever had, what you wish for. Just write about whatever you want. You need 5 sentences. And you're going to start by putting dear and then your teacher's name. So if you have Mrs. Jennison, okay, and here are the other teachers. We have Olson, Anderson, Mr. Jennison, Miss Swanson, and I can do your Mrs. and Mrs. Okay? Those are the teachers. So write your letter to your teacher, and then that is all you'll need to do today. Make sure you're turning in the daily question for either your classroom teacher or myself. That is how we're keeping track of attendance. If you're needing help, let me know, and have a marvelous weekend. Bye.